Fights are messy, savage, and violent, period. Now, someone sucker punching you in the face or kicking you in the head when you're on the ground can be life-threatening and is brutal beyond imagination. However, when we talk about fighting, what do we think of? Boxing, karate, mixed martial arts like cage and other championship fighting? Now, these are violent sports that present violence in a realistic way. However, unlike most of us, these fighters are top athletes who have years of dedicated training and experience. Now, they are some of the world's toughest fighters, and I have no doubt that most of them could survive an unarmed street attack. But remember, competition fights are governed by rules and time, enforced by a referee who can stop the fight. Now try to imagine what would happen if someone without this level of training is attacked at home or is involved in a fight on the street. Maybe there's more than one attacker. There are no rules. We have to do whatever it takes to survive. Now, thugs and criminals, by definition, don't live by our rules. So we need to train and mentally prepare for this eventuality by thinking outside the ring. Let's be brutally honest. No training can ever fully prepare us for the shock of a violent confrontation, particularly in a situation where we risk serious injury or death. This is where all of our awareness, movement, striking, self-defense training must come together and replicate these realities as close as possible. Remember, on the street there are no rules, and unfortunately we can't tap out. And time. We're now going to look at 360 defenses. What I'm doing is creating a defense 360 degrees around. A circle in this position. Again, in Krav Maga, we want to look at what is natural to us. This is a natural reaction, so we turn this into a defense. Now later we'll look at using a similar defense against hook punches, then against roundhouse kicks, and also against knife attacks. What am I doing? Now it's important before we start, although you saw this demonstration with no protection on the arms, the problem is that although we want to condition ourselves in Krav Maga, safety always comes first. So we want to use an arm guard like so to protect our forearms. When we look at 360, we are starting in a passive position. Now this can be done from a fighting stance. It can be done from a semi-passive position or passive position. It can also be done in situations that are more relaxed, like hands on the hips. For now, we're going to start in a semi-passive position. My hands are slightly forward. My elbows are in, protecting my ribs. The defense I'm making is a chopping motion against Travis's attack. I am using the blade of my arm to defend as close as I can to the wrist from this position. I am looking center, through the center, Travis's chin or the center of his chest. Why? It's important that we look, stay there Travis, at the center of the chest so we start building our peripheral vision. If I, in this exercise, focus on Travis's arm and one arm only as he makes an attack, I'm not going to see around me. I want to see the whole attack, so I look center. Again, my elbows are in, my hands are back, chin level. Travis starts to make the attacks. From here, I'm defending as close as I can to the wrist. I am coming back to a central position. This is important. Why? If I don't come back to a central position and he attacks again and again and again, I am not able to function with my arms out here. I have to come back central so I can make other defenses and counterattacks. Again, slowly, I defend at the wrist. I make a chopping motion, my hand recoils out and back. Out and back. I am bending at the waist on the lower attacks. You'll see later in knife defenses from this position. I have to bend at the waist. If I bend my knees, I bring myself closer to the danger. Coming back to a central position, always. Freeze. Notice my hand, my fingers. They're extended. They're not closed. Why? Because this gives me more surface area to defend. Even if I catch the defense here, it's better than to catching the defense with a closed fist. So from here, I have more length in my defense. And out. Still looking central. Time. Let's recap and look at the important parts of the defense. From this position here, Travis makes the attack. I'm defending deep and close to the wrist. Now, if I was to put a knife in Travis's hand, as I said before, this basic defense will build more advanced defenses. I must be deep because I don't know what he will have in his hand. It could be a punch, it could be a broken bottle, it could be a knife. So from here, I want to make as close as possible to the wrist, bend in the elbow. I am deep in my defense, my weight is going forward from this position here. Also, defending low. I'm defending as close as I can to the wrist from this position. And I'm bending at the waist. I'm locking my knees. Why? Because it brings my body further away from the knife. If I bend my knees, I come closer. Further away, bending forward at the waist, pushing down, weight going down from here. Blade of the arm. Very important, I am making a chopping motion. This will hurt the attacker's arm. Bone against the arm. Points to remember. You can start semi-passive. This can be done from a relaxed position. This can be done from a fighting stance. We start from a passive position. Elbows protecting the ribs. Elbows are in. Hands are about chin level. From this position, remember the angle. Sometimes it'll be 90 degrees, sometimes it'll be a little bit more. The important thing to remember is we do not want to exceed to the point where we are straightening our arm. We must maintain this angle here to stop the attack. I am using a chopping motion, blade of the arm. My fingers are extended out. My hands come back to a central position. I am looking center, so I can work train on my peripheral vision. Recoiling back. On the low attacks, I'm bending at my waist, not at the knees. Still making chopping motions. Down. Now making the defense with a counterattack. We can either do this simultaneously from this position here, as quickly as possible. Not everyone can do this. So we can add a slight pause before we make our counterattack. As quickly as possible. Remember, when you're training on doing your simultaneous counterattack, it is important that you make a strong defense. The punch and the defense works together. My weight is going forward. This is what generates the power in my defense. Do not make this and then this. At the same time, forward. I am scanning for multiple attackers. Notice after I make my defense that I'm constantly looking for other attackers. One more time. Remember, defending low. I bend at the waist, striking as quickly as possible. Defending at the wrist, not bending the knees. If there's a knife in the hand, I'm bringing myself closer to the knife. I don't want to do this. Pushing down. Attacking. Continuing to attack. And scanning the area. From this position here. From here. I'm attacking. Looking. And out. Using all my combatives. When you train on this, start to incorporate palm strikes, hammers, kicks, hammer fists, scanning the area. Why do I want to counterattack as quickly as possible? So 360-degree defenses with either simultaneous counterattack or a slight pause and counterattacking as quickly as possible. Using all of our combatives we've learned so far: kicks, punches, elbows, knees. Inside defense against straight punches to the face or throat area. Let's look at my defense. Again, as Travis attacks, this is a natural reaction. So we turn this into a defense, and the defense is a redirection. I am redirecting with the palm of my hand. I am not starting with my hands back here or back here, because it only makes sense to bring my hand slightly away from my chin so I can meet the punch earlier. We don't fight with our hands back here. If Travis puts his hand back towards his chin, the problem is that I can push the hands into his face. He's not a boxer. He doesn't have boxing gloves on in the street. So he can't use those gloves to help with his defense. His hands are open from this position here, which is easier to redirect the punch. And he's slightly away to meet the punch earlier. When Travis makes the attack from here, I am making a very small movement with my redirection. I am not making a slapping motion. Why? Because this exposes my face, so if Travis wants to make an attack, he can. From here, I make very small defense, enough to take the punch of its track. There's two parts to my defense. There's a hand defense and a body defense. Here. From this position, attacking with the hand. My hand is still up. Both my hands come back to a central position. So, I can defend other attacks. Here. Again, this can be done from a more relaxed position. This can be done from a semi-passive position. It can be done from a fighting stance. Inside defenses against straight punches to the face or the throat. Inside defenses, just using the hand defense. Now we look at using the body defense, moving the head out of the line of attack. Let's recap. My hands are not close to my chin. I want to bring my hands away slightly from my face so I can meet the punch early. I'm defending diagonally forward with the palm of my hand, or towards the heel of the hand. From this position, I'm making a small defense. Not a big movement, a slapping movement with my hand. Why? Because this exposes my face. 100% defense is with the hand. 200% defense is with the body, moving the head out of the way of the attack. From this position, my elbows are in, protecting my ribs. 100% defense, 200% defense. Again, this can be done from a relaxed position, here, from a semi-passive position, as you've just seen, or a fighting stance, forward hand or the backhand. Position. Inside defense with a counterattack. We have simultaneous counterattack. There might be a slight pause before we make the counterattack. Not everyone can make a simultaneous counterattack. So, we defend and we attack as soon as possible from this position. With all of our counterattacks. This position, please. My hands, my elbows are in, my hands are up. Diagonally forward, I'm defending. Palm, heel of the hand. From this position here, I am attacking. It is possible, if I turn Travis here, it is possible that when Travis attacks me here, I can slide down the arm to account for his recoil. When he recoils, I grab, I move off the line of attack. Boom. Again, freeze. Live side. Dead side. Ideally, I want to be dead side. So when Travis attacks from here, I'm now coming into a position where I have the advantage. And if Travis makes some sort of an attack from here, I can easily counter from this position. I have the advantage. As well as remembering scanning for multiple attackers, I can also use Travis to shield from this position here. Scanning. Inside defenses with counterattacks. Recapping, inside defenses with counterattack. My elbows are in, I'm in a fighting stance. From this position here, I make my defense. I make my body defense. I'm pushing off with my back foot, with my legs, coming off the line of the attack. From this position, here. Delivering multiple counterattacks. Here, from this position. Pushing off on the feet, finishing the attack, moving out, scanning. Defending with the backhand. I make my defense, I make my body defense, and as quickly as possible, I make my simultaneous counterattack, or as soon as possible, I want to counterattack. Following off the line of attack with counterattacks, following up with attacks. Pushing off the legs, finishing, pushing back, scanning for other attackers.